All right. Divisibility rules. Okay, so the definition of divisibility rules are finding the numbers that go into numbers evenly. For example, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do those numbers go into larger numbers evenly? Now, you may ask, well, why are we doing this? Well, we're coming up on equations, inequalities, irrational numbers, rational numbers, and this is going to help you quickly identify numbers that are divisible by other numbers. This not only is going to help you, in my opinion, in 6th grade, but going down the road, this is a really, really good skill to have, to be honest with you. And I wish that they would do it in 4th and 5th grade, because then it makes your life easier in 6th grade and beyond. Okay. Has anybody ever heard of anything like this? Okay, a couple of you. Okay, that's good. How many of you know some of them? Okay, good. Very good. All right. So again, at the end of the week, if you read the WAG, you'll know that we are moving on into equations, and this will help you, okay, into that chapter 7 and beyond. All right, so let's start off easy here. Number 2, how do we know if a number is divisible by 2? Tessa? Okay. Okay, 2 is pretty simple. Okay, if a number ends in an even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, it is divisible by 2. Now, we've talked about that before. Okay, but there's the rule stated for you, right? Pretty simple stuff. All right, everybody good with 2? Okay, number 3, we got to do a little bit of math, not much. Anybody know the rule for 3? Colleen? Sort of. That's sort of. No. You're ahead of yourself there. Hang on to that. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, now, what do you think the key words are in that definition, Andy? Yeah, here's the key right here. The sum of the digits, because this is not normal math. We don't usually add up the digits, right? So, an example, right? So, if you have the number 252, okay, and you want to know, is 252 divisible by 3 without dividing? See, that's the whole idea here. You don't want to divide. Okay. What does the definition say we do? We break these apart. 2 plus 5 plus 2. We're adding the sum of the digits, and we get the number 9. We take the sum and divide it by 3. Does 3 go into 9 evenly? The answer is yes, 3 times. Okay, so when you find divisibility rules, listen carefully. We're not asking you to find the quotient, right? We're not asking you to find 3. Usually it's a yes or no question, or it's a check mark in the box. Does that make sense? We don't want you to do side math and divide and find the quotient. That's not the activity. The activity is to add them up. Okay, can you do some math on the side? Yes, you're going to have to for a couple of these. But I would say 95, 98% of these are done in your head. This is not difficult stuff. Okay, you add the digits, you'd say, okay, in other words, you know your math facts, really. Is it divisible by 9? 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, the answer is yes. 3 is divisible by 252. Does that make sense? All right, number 4. All right, number 4. If the last 2 digits are divisible by 4. Okay, and I wrote here, this is one of those ones where you might have to work this out. This is one where if you don't know your facts, or depending on the numbers they give you, you may have to divide on the side. It's a possibility. All right, our first example for 4 is 936. Okay, so they give you 936 and they ask you, is it divisible by 4? Okay, which numbers are you only looking at? Which ones? You're only looking at 36. You don't need the 9. Okay, so again, this is where you can do this in your head, right? 36 divided by 4. This is knowing your facts. Goes in 9 times. Well, then it works for 936. You don't have to divide. Does that make sense? So good? So good so far? Okay. What about this example? 4,446. What digits are we looking at? 46. You're right. You're not concerned with the 2 4s out front. Again, this is just knowing your facts. 4 times anything give you 46. No. So 4 is not divisible by 4,446. Okay. And again, most of the answers are yes, or you would write no, or you would put a check mark. Okay. Because a lot of times they'll list on the left-hand side, they'll list the number, and then they'll have columns for every number for you to check to see if it's divisible. Okay. And again, most of these are obviously to be done in your head. Okay, 5. Pretty tough one. If the number ends with a 5 or 0, it is divisible by 5. Doesn't get any easier than that. Six. Okay, Colleen alluded to this earlier. Okay, now 6, you don't, it's already done for you. Okay, what's the key word there in that definition, Colleen? Okay, yeah, and or both. That is correct. It has to work for both 2 and 3. If it only works for one and not the other, is it divisible by 6? The answer is no, it doesn't work. So 6 is already done for you previously with 2 and 3. So you just got to look back and say, hey, did it work for 2 or 3? If the answer is yes to both of those, then it works for 6. Okay, 7, we're going to skip. There is one for 7, but not many people use it. It's kind of difficult. So we're going to skip it. No worries. Okay, 8. Okay, rule 8. If the last 3 digits are divisible by 8. Okay, again, this is probably the most common one that you got to work out. Okay, because there's 3 digits there. Okay, unlike 4, you use the last 2 digits. That's just kind of knowing your facts, truly. Okay, so this one I would start saying, hey, we just got to kind of be careful there. You probably do have to do a little bit of side math on that one. And truly, that's probably the only one that you're going to have to do it on. Rule for 9. Okay, rule 9 is basically the same thing as 3. Instead of dividing by 3, you're dividing by 9. Adding the sum of the digits. So, for example, what if we had 1071? without dividing is 1071 divisible by 9? Okay, I heard a yes and I heard a couple no's. 1 plus 0 plus 7 plus 1 equals what? Equals 9. Is 9 divided by 9? The answer is yes. So 1071 is divisible by 9 without even dividing. It goes in evenly, no remainder. Okay, if you wanted to test 1071, is it divisible by 3? You would add up the same digits. You would get 9. 9 divided by 3, does it go in evenly? The answer is yes. So that number is also divisible by 3. Okay, that makes sense? All right, and the last one, rule 10. Pretty simple. If the last digit's a 0. All right. Now you may need to go back to the class resources and look at the rules. You just wrote down the rule. You're going to need these for today and into tomorrow. But you can see that they're really not that difficult. All right, let's try some examples. So this is what it would look like. Let's try 792. Okay, and what this would look like is we got a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, an 8, a 9, and a 10. Okay, so if you need to glance at your rules, you can. Is 792 divisible by 2? Yes, why? Just yell it out. Even number at the end, right? Is 792 divisible by 3? Okay, how do you know? What are the digits added up? 18. 18 divided by 3 is 6, right? That's a fact, right? So it's divisible by 6. I'm sorry, by 3. Now, what can you do automatically at this point? Circle 6, right? It's automatically divisible by 6 because it worked for 2 and 3. See how that works? Once you circle 2 and 3, you can automatically circle 6 because it worked. Okay. Now, this is how I do it. I usually test 2 and 3 first because then I can circle 6 automatically. Now, go with the really, really easy ones. Can I circle 10? No, because it doesn't end in a 0. Can I circle 5? No, because it doesn't end in a 0 or a 5. Okay, so those two are out. Okay, so now I might have to do a little bit of math, right? What about 4? Okay, well, I hear some yeses and some nos. Okay, if you're not sure, that is what you're going to have to do off to the side. This is the side math, right? Goes in twice, I get 8, I get 12. It goes in there 3 times, I get 12. I have no remainder, so yes, 4 works. Okay, again, right here in the dotted pink, this is what you may have to do off to the side, generally for numbers 4 and 8. Okay, and that's okay. Okay, so we 5. How about 8? Okay, again, so we may have to do this. Oops. 7 goes in there 1 time. Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. I was stuck on my rule for 4. Okay, very good. 8 goes in there, what, 9 times? 72. I get 72. That would be 9 times. That would be 72. I get 0. So 8 works. Again, you may have to do this for 4s and 8s. That's okay. How about 9? Well, you said that it was 18, so does 9 go into 18 evenly? So we can circle that. Okay, so here's what you do. You're either going to circle them or you'll see there's check marks. So for the number 792, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 9 all go into that number evenly. I know that may not impress you now, but it will down the road. It's going to help you. What about 2,500? Does it work for 2? Yep. Does it work for 10? Yep. Does it work for 5? Okay, do you see how easy that? I always try to get the easy ones, out of the way quickly. Does it work for 3? No. 2 plus 5. You know what some of you are going to do? You're going to take 25 and instead of adding them together. Okay, you don't take the first 2 numbers or whatever, you don't take them all. You add the sum of the digits. Okay, so yes, 3 doesn't go into 7 evenly. Does it work for 4? Be careful here. Shh. What is that, Andy? Oh, okay. Does it go in evenly though? Yes, it does. That's where you got to be careful. Does 4 go into 0? Yeah, 0 times. You get no remainder. That's where you got to be careful. Okay, can we circle 6? No, because 2 is not circled. How about 8? Does 8 go into 500 evenly? Well, let's try it. This is where you got to divide. 8 goes into 50 6 times. 48. Does 8 go into 20 evenly? No, so it doesn't work. Again, you're not adding zeros here, right? We're not annexing zeros. We don't keep adding zeros to divide to see if it comes out evenly. No, the number is the number and that's it. You don't keep dividing. Okay, and 9. Does 9 go into 7 evenly? No, it does not, right? So for 2,500, 2, 4, 5, and 10 are the only ones that work. Okay. All right. We good with testing the rules? All right. Here's a good quiz question. You might want to write this down. Carter, can you put your mask up, please? A 3-digit number divisible by both 2 and 9. Now, listen carefully. Can you come up with a 2-digit number? No, you can't. What does it say? What kind of a number does it say? A 3-digit number. It doesn't say 2, doesn't say 4, doesn't say 5. A 3-digit number that is divisible by both 2 and 9. Now, here's the good news. There's only about 8 million of them out there. you're not going to come up with the same numbers. Okay? So as long as your number satisfies that question, you are correct. Okay, so I'll give you like 30 seconds here. You come up with a 3-digit number that works for 2 and 9. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Write it down on your paper. All right, give me your 3-digit numbers. Callie, give me one. Okay, so Callie says 162. Yes? Okay, ends in an even number. You add them up. It works. Very good. John? 180. That will work as well. Colleen? 810. Very good. Andy? 720. Very good. Fisher? 360. Very good. Ava? 144. Very good. 108. Okay, very good. 540. Okay, we can keep going on because there's so many of them, right? Okay, those will all work. Okay, even though you all have different answers, they work because they are divisible by 2 and 9. All right, everybody good? Any questions about the divisibility rules? Okay, listen carefully. So, the first thing we have is something called classwork. And I think it is, I don't know why, but it's level 2. That doesn't mean anything. I believe that's the first thing in today's folder. Listen carefully. You are going to turn this in before you leave today. Okay? So you have a whole period to get that done and turn it in the box up there, in the wood box. Okay, after that, you have 2 worksheets. Okay, about divisibility rules. Okay, you can work on those the rest of the period after you get your classwork done. You also have an ed puzzle. Okay, don't forget to do the ed puzzle. That's like 3 points. Some of you don't do those. You need to do them. They're pretty easy. Okay, any questions? Everybody good? All right, work on your class work first, and then you can work on the other things in your folder, the ed puzzle, and the other worksheets.